What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. Top of the morning to everyone. I want to talk to you guys about the interview by Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn was asked various questions about various topics, but the most top main one now is his take on Wilder and the possibility of Wilder joining Dazn. And he was asked a lot of key questions. And the question was, would you be there? And he was like, no, I think that's a bad idea. And I agree. He goes on to say, there's not going to make no deals will be made between him and Shelley or him and Wilder. They have no type of working relationship together. Okay, so that won't happen. It's going to be up to John Skipper, which is the representative of the zone in the U.S. And that's how that fight's going to get made. And I do agree 100%. Like I told you guys in a previous video, Eddie Hearn will be nowhere around. That would be a bad idea. That's exactly what I said. He shouldn't be anywhere around those meetings and negotiations. He should be in his suite somewhere waiting to see what happened. But it's a good thing because John Skipper and Wilder, they can come together because that's a neutral person. That's nobody from Matchroom or Sky. This is just strictly with DAZN. Canelo was signed like that. He didn't go through Eddie, so he was signed. But he was signed with DAZN. Now I'm thinking if Wilder, being Wilder, he will want a massive deal on the table to join with DAZN. We know he's leaving Showtime, so I think he's looking at a huge deal himself. Make no mistake about it. A fighter can't be that naive not to expect a deal of his own. Because if he lands a massive deal with DAZN, a certain dollar amount gets thrown at him, 60 million, 40 million or something like that for a certain amount of fights. That would be the only way that could, he would sign with DAZN. However, there are a lot of ifs and a lot of worries, and a lot of concerns rather. Deontay Wilder is a PBC guy, okay? He is advised by Al Haymon, and Al Haymon has a strong relationship with a lot of those guys. Some people would even call it strange, but it is a relationship nonetheless that it has a lot of loyalty. These guys are loyal to Al Haymon. And if Al Haymon, if he only works with PBC and Fox or whatnot, that would be the only stumbling block with that on top of the money. Now, Wilder could get too greedy. This is not out of the question, and I'm telling you guys this before it happens. If Wilder looks at someone like Canelo and expects some huge deal like that to fight on DAZN, he's mistaken. Because Canelo has a 11-fight deal or a 10-fight deal with DAZN. And if Wilder feels that he's going to get a deal like that, he should fight like that. But what happens, people compare their own success with other people's success and their own deals. If you notice in a workplace, that's why it's against a lot of rules of conduct to display your salary. And that's for that exact reason. Because one person might see that and they base that off of what they feel they're worth. Well, if that person's getting that, I'm going to get this. Or I should get that. And with Wilder, it's interesting to see what would happen. But this is a good step to see the fight that we've been waiting a year and a half to see almost now. Way over a year. But we'll see what John Skipper can do. Now, back to Eddie Hearn. When asked about a lot of other fighters, like Charlo, he mentioned Charlo. He told him this is what he said to the reporters. He said, well, damn, how long you think that you're gonna not make money? Would you get third of the money and fight once a year? What do you think you're gonna do? We're offering you 3 times as much to fight on Dazn. And of course, Charlo, hey, I'm gonna speak to my advisor, Al Haymon. And Eddie's right. Al Haymon talks these guys out of deals. And the thing is, what they don't realize is that they should look, if they want to compare themselves or analyze anyone's career, they should look at Danny Jacobs. Look at Danny Jacobs. He's managed by, his promoter is Eddie Hearn. He is advised by Al Haymon. So it can work, people. It still can work. There's many relationships with different people for a reason. But then you have certain fighters that are not that inquisitive. They're not that bright. They can't see, okay, I can be promoted by this guy and then still advised by Al Haymon. You know what I mean? They don't have that idea. They are prisoners of that side of the street. They feel that, you know what, this is my only way and I'm going to stick with this guy because that's all I know. You know what I mean? And that's all I want to know. And then they don't really take advantage of the money that's offered to them. So then they get bribed with some type of way or some kind of underhanded way. I don't know how that goes, but they end up staying with PBC, right? And Al Haymon without taking the offer that was presented to them. But then you often see the outcome. They fight no one worth a shit. You know what I mean? And then they fight less than they would on this new platform. They're not really showcased. They are showcased. You got them on PBC and Fox and something like that. But again, the competition's just mediocre to who the hell is this person that they're fighting? A good showcase fight for these guys, but nothing ever happens. No unification, no top name fighter, because the top name fighter is more than likely on another network. So, it happens like that. Now, they go on to ask him about, Eddie Hearn states that if Tevin Farmer wins his next fight, he's going to make Gervonta Tank Davis a fucking massive offer. Massive offer. Now, they've already came out and said that Leonard Ellerby said that he's not fighting on Dazn at all. And you guys see my videos about that. You know how I feel about Gervonta Tank Davis. He's just another guy in the system. That's what I'm going to call it. He's just in the system. He's in the system. He's a prisoner of the PBC. He doesn't have a name for himself. He's signed with the money team, TMT Promotions. They're not getting him the fights that he needs. When they do, they try to throw him in there with a smaller guy to make him look good, like they're doing with Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia. Just because you get called out by someone, you should have enough integrity not to take a fight, because there's nothing that's going to boost your popularity or morale or credit. Errol Spence won't get credit for beating the shit out of Mikey Garcia if that happens. Neither would Gervonta Tank Davis get credit for beating the shit out of Abner Mares. That won't, you know what I mean? Because all you're doing, you're keeping these fighters stagnant, and that's all. Where they should be fighting people their own size, you know what I mean? Their own damn weight class. That's what should happen. But that doesn't happen in PBC because they're all about trying to pacify the fighter instead of treating the fighter. Instead of that, they're cheating the fighter and the fans. So this massive offer better be fucking huge. But I don't think it would matter, honestly. Because I think Gervonta Tank Davis, even if he wanted to, and there's been times he wanted to, he can't take that. He's signed to some special, he's a prisoner. So that won't happen, guys. So, he went on to say Dillian White. Dillian White is pretty much SOL if he signs with ESPN. You can set up a massive fight with Tyson Fury, but Tyson Fury has no belt, really. He just had a draw with Wilder. So he has nothing really. He has his name. He has this huge contract, through his trial and tribulation, right? But if Dillian White knows, well, Dominic Breazeale is getting the shot at Wilder over him, I think he should sue the WBC. I think that would be the route, like he threatened to do. But I feel that a lot of these fighters are going to eventually come over. And then they ask, a reporter asked, well, do you think if Wilder signs, you think it's going to be open up the floodgates? And Eddie, he responded, well, the floodgates are already open because, you got Canelo, Jacobs, Joshua, hopefully Wilder, he says. A lot of other fighters, Andrade. You got a lot of guys that are over there. Sure, you got lower tier guys, Jesse Vargas, Brandon Rios. Fighters like that. Hey, sign a few $1,000,000. Get your money up front, get your money guaranteed. And that's what it's about. It's about a guarantee for a lot of these fighters. These fighters want a guarantee. And like he said about Showtime, what they do, they can't compete with the money that's up front. They can't compete with the guarantee. That's a fact. ESPN or Dazn can give upfront money because they have a budget to do so. Showtime doesn't have that budget. Okay? So what Showtime does to keep their fighter like Wilder, they propose, let's put it on pay-per-view so we can get the pay-per-view sales, so that buffers out the slack. That takes out the slack. Okay? So they don't have to come out of their pocket. They rely on the sales to get these guys paid. But if it goes under, what do they have? You think these networks want to come out? They put Deontay. Okay, let's say Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale is on Showtime. So if that happens and then the shit does terrible, then they need to do 200,000 pay-per-view buys, even to scratch even to get the fighters paid. They really made no money off the deal. Because they had to pay the fighter, because the fighter has a guarantee. If Wilder has a guarantee, But, like speculated, if it is on Showtime, they do have a certain dollar amount that he is guaranteed. But that's nothing like 12.5 or 15 million. Now, the pay-per-view, it could come out victorious, but who knows what pay-per-view is going to go? So that's a whole different thing. These streaming sites are the way of the future. You know what I mean? Pay-per-view will soon, unfortunately, like HBO and other places that couldn't compete. It's going to be like Service Merchandise, Sears, Blockbuster, right? You heard me talk about Blockbuster all the time. But it's true. These places are going out of business. Toys R Us. Think about Toys R Us. That's like America's toy store, man. Gone. So it can happen. Things can collapse. Okay, and then it looks like pay-per-view is doing that, especially when people are like, you know what? All right, put it on pay-per-view. I'm going to watch that shit on Fire Stick for free. Yeah. And that's exactly how it is. But overall, it was a good interview. And we'll have to see what Wilder does. We have to see what type of offer that Hearn sends to Gervonta Tank Davis. And back to Davis just for a second. He said he doesn't even think he saw those offers. Because he sent many offers to TMT. Mayweather Promotions. And maybe he has or maybe he hasn't. But again, guys, I don't think it would matter to him anyway, because he's a prisoner of the PBC. But anyhow, we have to see what develops. Ortiz and White, that was thrown in the conversation. And I don't think, to this day, I don't think that Eddie Hearn wants that fight for him and Dillian Whyte. But, it is what it is. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about the interview. Was it helpful? Is it encouraging? You guys tell me. Hit the like button, share, please subscribe, and you guys been counterpunched. Peace.